Welcome to the Conscious Pivot Podcast with international speaker, business mentor, best-selling author of Pivot, and your host, Adam Markell. The Conscious Pivot shares the stories and wisdom of people who have successfully reinvented some area of their business and personal life. You'll gain powerful insights into how you can fully embrace new opportunities, increase your performance, and master the art and science of innovation and resilience. So please join Adam as he guides you on your Conscious Pivot.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Conscious Pivot Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Markell, and I am sitting in such a blessed space at this moment. I feel incredibly blessed to just be alive and to be breathing right now, but I also have an extra reason for feeling incredibly lucky, and that is that I get to spend the next hour or so with a dear friend, and to be able to work and do work that I love. And I put it in the we, all right? I'm speaking about myself, but I'm also having the presumptive audacity to extend this out to a greater group of people than just myself. When we are able to do work that we love, we are blessed. When we are able to do work that we love and that has an impact on other people's lives, that it's not just about us, then we are doubly blessed. When we are able to do work that we love, that impact lives in a positive way, and we get to do it with people that we love and respect, I can't even think of anything that is more of a blessing than that. And so it is my deep privilege and honor to spend some time with a friend. That all of you get to be a third party to this conversation, which I'll say right out of the gate, I have no idea where it'll go, because there's no controlling the two of us when we get together and where our minds and our hearts take us. I can only guarantee you one thing, that we will be navigated to a shore that is all about love. No matter what, it will be about heart space. No matter what, it will be about how we extend our love to other people, and how the world can improve through working together, through collaboration, not through the virus of competition. Now, this gentleman is no stranger to that conversation. In fact, he is a pioneer in that conversation. And as has been said in the past, sometimes the pioneers, you can tell the pioneers because they're the ones with the arrows in their back. And so that's sometimes the case. And more often than the case, the pioneers are the ones that pull the arrows out of their back and they keep going forward. The gentleman I have the privilege to speak to and introduce all of you to, more importantly, because that's a private honor for me, but to be able to share this gentleman with our community and the greater community of the world is really the blessing for me now. His name is Berny Dohrmann. He is the founder and chairman of Forbes.com, Forbes.com's number uno, must-attend business conference. Mr. Dohrmann is an economist, an investment banker, having run a public global Wall Street investment banking firm prior to his work for 30 years with a company called CEO Space International. Mr. Dohrmann, we're going to call him Bernie, though. Bernie's a best-selling author, a film producer, radio show host, and the inventor of something called super teaching, which is a remarkable new digital way to design future classrooms for modern learners. Mr. Dohrmann's wife, September, is the president and CEO of their award-winning international institution. CEO Space serves, get this, 100 clients in 140 nations over a time frame of 3 decades. Most importantly to me, he is a dear, dear friend. Welcome to the show, Bernie. Thanks for making the time to speak with us today.
To be on the Conscious Pivot, everybody, get this to your list, spiral this. Don't just consume it. Let others be blessed. Put it on your walls. Get it out on your social. It's too important when you got the thought leader that trains all the thought leaders to get this download up here, because the time you spend in this software's upgrade, nothing magnifies 10 to 1 more than that. And I'm looking at Adam, who has taken the thought leaders, the corporate leaders, the giants, the people you read, the people that have broken Guinness Book of Records. He's been their coach. So when you see the people that you look at and you say, here's Tony Robbins, who coaches him? And when you can get their coaches, you've got two with Adam and myself, without trying to blow ourselves up. that just quietly, like if you've read Chicken Soup for the Soul that broke the Guinness Book of Records, who put out, if you're a Chicken Soup reader and you're viral in this, who put out and contributed to the launch of that Chicken Soup, or Rich Dad Poor Dad, or Think and Grow Rich for Women, or Lisa Nichols No Matter What, or from Les Brown to whatever you look at, The Secret, 1.5 billion, everybody in it. And you go to Michael Beckworth, or you go to the star, Bob Proctor, and you can go, Bob Proctor, CEO Space video, and see his video on us as a thought leader. And you see, oh, this was the wind and the intellectual property, the coach to the coaches of the biggest in the world, biggest fortune companies. And they're now with you, giving you these secrets. Viral this, get it all over the place. Take a little quick time, because you bless everyone. And cooperation versus competition is reciprocity. Reciprocity is the secret to the law of attraction, because it comes first. So I want to bless you, Adam. This is so important, your work and this product, the Conscious Pivot. I want this. I thought Pivot was a revolution when it became a bestseller, and we contributed to that. But I just tell you, when at first I got the galley proofs and looked at it, I thought, this is a breakthrough, because we live in the age of the pivot. So back to you.
We do live. We live in the age of the pivot. The idea that change is going to go away soon is a foolish idea, I suppose. Ram Dass says, make friends with change. I think today you have to take it to the point where you make change your best friend. And Bernie, you've written a book on that topic called Super Change. I'd love it if you'd share a little bit about the premise of that book and where it fits into a lot of the change in the form of disruption that we're seeing today.
Well, the famous words, if you get, you go Bob Proctor, CEO Space film, you're going to see his uncertainty film, which he got from us. And it's my language, but it's like, and he says it so well, so I'll say it again, because it's my speech from the stage you've heard so many times. We thought that, this velocity of change that's so stressful for us was going to slow down, and we'd get back to what we call normal. And we thought that in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It's not slowing down. It's speeding up. It's speeding up exponentially. So today in the C-suite of the big corporate areas, they send people to CEO Space. Why? Because it's the fresh new management training of the century. Why? Because of super change. So you can be a double Harvard, double Wharton graduate, but if you're a brain who can't, as Alvin Toffler said, you can't, the new brain, the new education, the new leader of tomorrow is the brain in super change that can pivot. So that's a brain that can learn faster, much faster, unlearn really faster, and learn in a relearn, like the earth is not flat. And in quantum and nano and all the things we're looking at, 5G is nothing compared to what's coming. And you have to be current in the C-suite, whether you're a solo entrepreneur, a professional practice, head of a not-for-profit. Where do you go to be current? Where's your currency investment? So Conscious Pivot wrote the book on it. You can't get to a space like CEO Space and spend time there. Get online, and you get CEO Space in the Conscious Pivot. Then you get currency, how to stay current. You can't get stressed and say, I don't want to keep up anymore. You can't do it, and you just can't. So, and you won't. So that will be the nature of your pivot. Your commitment is, I'm going to remain current in the age of super change. Now, what's your process? Start with the Conscious Pivot and viral it. Share it everywhere. Put it on your Facebook, your LinkedIn. Put it on every wall you've got. It takes 5 minutes. And how did you bless? How many people came over and got a link and saw this show or the show you picked that you like even better? So I think super change, and you're getting into the tools and tactics to remain current in the age of super change. We have to slow down and be more consciously observant. We have to calm down to catch up. You don't get frantic to catch up, you calm down. Yet in your soul has no problem with the currency, but the head can get in the way with its brain storm. Your heart is the double doorway to the soul that gives you all the answers. And back to you, because that's your topic, and pick a pivot.
Well, I want to reflect back a couple of things you just said, because I know people that are listening to this and some are watching it on YouTube are frantically looking, where can I, get my phone out, take some notes, write some things down. I still use a paper and pen. I'm archaic, I guess, in that respect, but I love to have little stickies and notes and things.
Well, it burns it into the subconscious. I think it's so important. Anything you write down is dropped into a file save that doesn't happen in Superchange when you just scan. We're all scanning emails, and in relationship, folks, we're bigger than a scan. You can't scan the relationship that Adam and I have. Occasionally, we have to smoke a cigar together.
We do. We need to eat a
We're
lobster.
health conscious, but we have a cigar once in a while.
Need to sip a scotch. We need to smoke a cigar.
Well, that's good. I like that.
Yeah. Well, we got some of that coming up soon. So you said calm down to catch up. That is one of the, I think, most important things that people can hear and take notes on. And then beyond listening and beyond writing it down is the act of doing something. So what I'd love for wherever it is that people are consuming this right now, we know that the great part about this is that on some level, this goes on forever. It goes on for eternity, just like, at least in my belief system, we go on for eternity. But this will be stored on the internet. People will be consuming this, listening to this as a podcast, watching it on YouTube. Bernie, I know it's scary, but for thousands of years, people will be consuming this. And what you just said is some of the most sage advice that has ever, that I've ever heard. I mean, I guess I could say that's ever been given, but at least in my experience, that's the truth. We have to slow down to catch up.
We have to calm down. We have to slow down and be observant. We have to be in a new observation. We have to be objective, not subjective. What's coming in? Endless stuff's coming in. So make a box in your file box. This is going to change your life. And put on it Friday box. Make a shoe box and put a Friday box on it. All lawsuits, all stress, all threats, they go in the Friday box. You handle it 9 to 12, and the rest, your conscious mind controls positive outcome. Then you have these boxes. Now, money, now. Everything's dragged to that, and you do it at your leisure. You never react to email, and you don't open them in real time. You control how you manage digital space, or your digital space controls you. And this is a Jeff Bezos technology. This is an Amazon technology. These are the best in the world, $1 trillion companies. So now, money, now. That's going to make money in the next week or two. And I'll open that, and it'll be this week I'm working on it. Next is next money, next. That's going to make money in 60 days, 90 days, 180 days. Then last money, last. That's the emails and the things that I'm going to open, but they're not going to make money for me, and I'm not going to have to react to them for 6 months or longer. Then I'm putting last money last, and that's money that's a year away. And we spend more of our time on that than now money now. Then I want you to spend no money, none. That's your last box. And that's 60% of your time. I want you to change that graph. If I could put a refrigerator pie graph, it would be to see the percentage, 10 or 15% of now money now, next 2 week activity of yours. And then next money next, which is the 4 to 6 week, 90-day activity. And then last money last, which is 6 months to a year. And you're spending all your time in no money, none. And now you've dragged it to boxes, and you're focused on your now money now, and you're not having it control your time, because you can't react to subjective incoming. You have to now be objective and manage it, because that is, and I have a saying, having done in my investment company 50 million of diamonds a month in wholesale goods, investment grade diamonds worldwide. I say time is more precious than diamonds. And if you don't manage your time, all the tools and tactics I give you will blow up. Yeah.
That's all I was thinking as you were saying that. This is one of the best productivity hacks that you can find. So again, if you haven't yet been scrambling for a way to write these things down, I know you are now for sure. We do have to calm down to catch up sometimes, meaning take a breath, be able to do something to be in recovery mode. We're in constant going mode. More now than ever, as you said, the pace of life, the pace of change, the pace of everything going on is exponentially greater all the time.
But it's stressing people. That's why we see the violence, the acting out, and also we don't have a crisis of integrity. So you look at the political landscape, and what do we have? Tribalism and a descendancy from the America that's supposed to be the hope and promise of the world. And if you're outside the country, most of our customers are in 100 countries outside the U.S. And I'm telling you, worldwide, everybody looks to us and wants us to be the hope and promise, but they're kind of watching the sitcom and the entertainment that's gone on for quite a few 20 years now. And we've descended into an entertainment. And I know all the people that work up there. We lobby, as a business lobby for small business. And I tell you, every leader is doing the best they know how. They really are. And we used to have respect and disagreement. And I want you to understand that in this compression, we've gotten to crazy space. There's like a crazy space on the software that's on our brain. With media, always needing sensation. So we don't have the finest hour of what we're doing right now is mainline television. Rather, they're watching a packet. And if the present...
we are over-sensationalized, huh?
Well, yeah, if the debate that is so bad, and it has to do with Stormy Daniels and the next Stormy Daniels and whatever the Me Too is, we stand for women. I have women running my company. I'm all for that. But I'm saying as we ramp it up, and we don't have due process anymore. We don't have rights. We don't have anything. And Al Franken's out on a Me Too. I'm saying leaders that are tremendous assets for us. All right. There isn't a crisis of leadership. There's a crisis of integrity. We have to bring integrity.
There is a crisis of integrity, and we're
that's the problem. Really.
Yeah. No.
But we have it. When I go around the country like you do, our people have it all over the world. Our peeps. They have integrity in their family. Our leaders aren't showing us the integrity that reflects our people, but we can get back. We can have it roll out.
Self-leadership is a big deal, right? I mean, I think it's one of the things I love most about CEO space, about the organization you've been running for so long, is the degree to which both the people who are there as coming for selfish reasons. I mean, look, people come to a business networking event for themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because they want to raise capital. They want to be introduced to other people that are not just like-minded, but like-hearted, and also people that are running successful businesses. It pays to be playing in that space. You want to be a better tennis player, play with tennis players who are at least as good, if not better than you. So, to have an environment, to curate an environment where you've got multi, and sometimes even, businesses that are representing billions in one location like that.
Absolutely.
You would think that the environment, and Yogananda said that environment is stronger than will, and I believe that environment is the key ingredient. And in that environment, you'd think it could be like a shark, sort of a shark fest. I was a lawyer for 18 years, so I know what it's like to live in the shark tank. And what shocked me the first time I went—
New York lawyer.
I think, oh, stop it.
10 years ago. Powers,
10 years ago, I went to
Barney. You don't think that is a competitive in New York City?
10 years ago, I went to that gathering, and I thought, well, look, I'm a shark. I know how to operate in that tank. What shocked me was to be—
You're a licensed shark.
Thank you. I was a licensed shark.
You're a recovery attorney.
I have retired. I turned in my shark ticket. But in that environment, the level at which people are helping each other, the level at which collaboration thrives. I'd love for you, if you would share your philosophy of collaboration versus the virus of competition. To me, it's one of the most profound things I've ever learned, and I want to.
We've gone a little bit aside, but my father started the human potential industry in the 1940s. So I grew up with the thought leaders of the greatest fortune companies that were changing their culture and architecture, from competitive cultures to cooperative cultures. I grew up with the man that started and did the course designs for the Landmarks, LifeSpring, SciWorld seminars, and Michael Murphy's Esalen and Mind Dynamics before that. And I mean, so at my home is Martin Luther King, Jack Kennedy pitching my first Little League game, Walt Disney, Napoleon Hill working with my dad until he died. And their work right up through the 80s was of course, Napoleon Hill died in the 70s, but it was to get to a point that we have a culture of those that have the virus removed. And this will be hard for some of you. And I know it's hard, but if you want to read a book, you read, other than Pivot, read Pivot first. But if you want to go to the next level of it, go to Redemption, the Cooperation Revolution. And I recommend the hard copy, although it's always backordered, 5-star book. All the world leaders have it. All the presidents have it. President nominees, they've quoted from it in speeches. It really is for world government leaders. But I want you to look at the software removal tool. Here's the concept. You have to guard your circle. You have to form a circle that is buoyant in integrity and collaborative. And you have to guard the guards. Napoleon Hill said you have to guard the guards. And if you look at Sharon Lecter, wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad's annotations to my Uncle Nappy, Napoleon Hill's last book, Outwitting the Devil.
Outwitting the Devil. Yep.
Get that one, and you'll see what you're doing to yourself, and it helps you pivot. But I want you to understand that competition as an impulse in thought at the midbrain, which is reptilian, is actually the first form of human insanity. And so you say there's good things about competition. I mean, we do Super Bowl training. We tell them you're never competing. You're showing that your competition, like the Olympic Games, your competition, no, your cooperation, your collaboration is what? It's undefeatable. You're not going to destroy the other guy. You're going to teach him that your cooperation is better than theirs. And if they compete inside the game, which they do, you're going to always be undefeatable. And we've done that and had winners every single time. Cooperation theory works for 3M, it works for Amazon, it works for Apple, and the competitive companies are slowly dying. They're poisoning us in chemical companies, toxic ways of transport. We have all the alternatives on the planet. We can have hydrogen from water and have cheap energy forever, and we're getting there. And you're going to see the change coming from integrity coming back. So CO Space was a gathering place, and I always like to say, billionaires, heads of fortune companies, mid-management, the best management trained in the world, and all those development space and solo entrepreneurs. It's the gift of the century. But it's coming together as a collab and coming into a giant collab. And you're not all saints. I mean, we're humans and we're in this soup of this toxic, competitive nightmare. But we lie, cheat, and steal a lot less. And it may not sound like much, but when you put integrity into a relationship, miracles happen in a year that would take a decade. And so if we win all these awards and the press says we're number one and you got to go if you own a business or not-for-profit or a practice, when you viral this and you ever look at it, the reason you come is the blessing of community. To have the community, how many people do you hear, Adam, that say, I found our tribe? So they read and they get pivot and they get the values, but where's the tribe? Where's the culture? That is not, and so we are the opposite. If you want the Shark Tank, there's 1,100 that are trying to give you your money worth. Then there's one that gives you your money back. It actually gives your money back. And so what is that one that does that? That's the Dolphin Tank. The dolphins work together.
I'm going to stop you
can
for
never
a
hurt a dolphin.
I want to be the cynic. I want to take up the call of people that are, I don't even want to say, there's a place for cynicism. There's a place for everything. I don't think there's anything that's misplaced in our world, meaning everything is here to serve and everything is divine on some level. So the person who might cynically or critically in their mind, thinking critically, say, look, competition, it's been with us for a long time. We're trained to compete in school. We're trained to compete in the Olympics and sports. And
we're trained to be insane.
And it brings out the best in us. That if
it brings out complete financial collapse and world wars that are unnecessary.
So say a little bit more about why it is that is a virus.
At the bottom, I'm an economist. At the bottom of the pyramid is socialism, communism, and competitive capitalism. Competitive capitalism is just feudalism. The knights are now lawyers, you were one, and we take over each other's castle by hostile merger. And I'm saying, so we're still doing it. At the top is cooperative capitalism, which has rules, they're in redemption, the cooperation revolution for lawmakers, and it creates a capitalism that doesn't have speculation, so it becomes casinos, and it also doesn't have this model where there's unlimited consolidation. You can't have an economic system where 1% own more wealth than 99%, or you get this. And if this is not insane, you tell me if we're not insane here. And it's all because there's got to be a cause, and the cause wants to live, so it remains invisible. There's one virus on human consciousness. If you want a great family and relationship and home space, get a cooperative, collaborative, and remove the competitive environment in the home space. When competition is out of the home space, and I know in my marriage, I have the greatest marriage, you have the greatest marriage, but we don't have competitive home space. We have cooperative home space, and you see it in your children, you see it in my children, you see it in how we are together. The relationship is the most important ship you sail on, and we have the greatest. So that's done, because we remove the competitive virus in the home space. You do it in corporate, and everybody gets switched on, turned on space. People come early, leave late. You do pyramidal fear, punishment, how many steps to the cubicle to the Coke machine and back. Do that, McKinsey and Booz Allen, and watch what happens, which is why we have their founders teaching our cooperative theory, which is revolutionizing fortune companies. They're moving from cooperative culture to, away from competitive culture, and they're getting results, performance results, and they're getting higher levels, which is why they send their management teams to us.
This is why you say cooperative theory is undefeatable, right? That's the essence.
Undefeatable, and it's where we have peace of mind. The ultimate revolution in the world is our redemption through cooperative theory. So let's look at the economy system. And, space people arrive, and we're trying to tell them we're not insane while we fight over, should they meet the Pope, the president, or should they meet the head of the EU or Russia? And so we're all fighting over that, and they're trying to come down and help us. And then they're explaining to us, we just don't get why in silos, there's all the food, and it's being spoiled, and it'll go into the ocean so you can support pricing for the 1%. And 1.5 billion Mozarts and Bill Gates and Stephen Jobs will die under the age of 35 this year because we don't distribute that food for less than 10% of what we give in aid and grants to Afghanistan. And I'm saying, is that insane to let them all die? Then we have health. It's the same thing with medicines that don't get distributed, and they're screaming, and we could take all that misery away. And then we compete with the planet, and we're about to pollute ourselves, so we can't even, could we spend what we spend in aid that we give away to a country that hates us and spend that money to have floating platforms that take all the CO2 by solar 24 hours a day out of the atmosphere and terraform the temperature? We can get the temperature where we want it, etc. But we're too busy protecting, for competitive reasons, insanity, which is put the toxic chemicals out in the air and kill the planet till we won't even be here in the future. It's an odd kind of way you got to get away and observe and say, is there a better way? And the top of the pyramid is cooperative organization in the home space, workspace, and ultimately, as CO space builds, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and we're there now, that are out in businesses.
Because it's a change in mindset. First, I mean, I was going to ask
you. You're doing it. You're one of the spokes reaching huge numbers.
Bernie, what do you think the first domino is? I mean, maybe I've sort of given away what I think it might be, but what do you think is the first domino in this change? As you said, we have to remain current in an age of change. You got to remain current.
You're having your life blue screen. You're having your life go blue screen. You got to reboot your life. You're having bankruptcy, divorce, stresses you can't imagine. You're not happy. You have all the money, but you're not thrilled. You're miserable with all the money. And I coach a lot of them. And then we get it back to switched on, turned on home space, switched on, turned on workspace, and balance. So you have balance. And what is it? You have to first, you can't get rid of any computer virus, cell phone virus, any virus, if you don't know you have the virus.
Okay. So is the first domino
competition is that awareness that I have the virus and I'm going to use cooperation and collaboration to remove it. Once you know that the first insanity for a human is competitive thought impulse, and it's an animal midbrain malfunction, and you get your higher state to your back. There's immortal spirits aren't competing in tribalism and cruelty and individually mean competition. They are in total awareness, and they love that they see source in each other, and they're here forever. The idea that we're down here with that inside us, we're trying to, I win, I get up the ladder and push you off so I can get first, and then I get rewarded with a trophy. I'm the top shark in the feeding frenzy. Be in the dolphin tank. There are no sharks that can ever attack a dolphin pod. I don't know if you know that. They have no enemies. Man's about it. And they're leaping, clickety click. They have language that is really advanced. We're starting to talk to them. They are sentient beings like elephants that we're just slaughtering because we're so insane, because we think we'll get a heart on from ivory. And I'm saying a rhino tusk. I mean, come on, folks. Are we not beyond all this? Can't we preserve our species? When we wake up and get rid of competition, we'll have longevity. We'll discover the stars. We'll go faster than light. We'll populate the earth to all the planets. We'll have the earth completely.
I had a selfish moment this summer. Can I share with you what that was, Bernie?
Yeah.
It was that I was given an opportunity to teach a class of teenagers. I think we had about 14 of these young people. And I shouldn't say teens because and I was just speaking with Justin Reckler yesterday, whose daughter Neva was in this class, and she's now a world-class speaker, speaking on huge stages.
Has her own podcast, yeah.
Yeah. She's incredible. At 8, well, she just turned 9 years old. So I was teaching her, or I don't know, maybe she was teaching.
6 business days,
but between Neva at 8 and on up to about 20 years old, I got to share a week with teenagers at your gathering. And I think that's a wonderful way to look at what CES.
You upgraded their software in Pivot.
Well, I got an opportunity. That's why I say it was selfish to spend that time with them. And I know that happens usually once a year. It's a gathering of not only the parents who are business leaders.
Every person in that room was in tears, including me. I had to get an extra box of handkerchief just when they shared what had transformed in their life from your training as you pivoted these. They went through a rite of passage into their adulthood with full power.
Well, here's what I was really wanting to share, which was that the most impactful thing I can say happened in that week was that there was a shift or a change in awareness. And that's why I asked you what the first domino was, because if we're all in some way inflicted with this virus of competition, and it starts, where does it start? I mean, does it start in utero? Does it start when we go to preschool? Or
it starts from people we don't know and can no longer remember, and that software is operating and you don't know, you can't delete it. Well, it self-limits you. It gives blame and judgment. What spirit wants to blame or judge?
No, exactly.
It's like if someone has the virus and they're betraying me, they're trying to cheat me, and they're doing all this stuff. I just, step back and go into my circle and I bless them because they have the virus. The virus is in control. I don't damn their soul. I don't sue them. I don't do any of that stuff. I just remove myself from those that are, at the energy state that isn't where I'm at. So I want to be in an energy state as I go into, the legacy part of my life of vibrancy with you and Randy and your children and people that are awake. And I want a community, which I build, that calls to the awake. And the sharks don't come. Adam, there's something about CO Space, which is, the largest entrepreneur organization in the world, but people just can't get into it if they're coming from a competitive mindset. They talk themselves out of it. And all of the people waking up or awake, they can't get there fast enough because their community's there.
They are. They're a different, it's a different environment to conduct business. So it's a very much a business focused and business centric environment where people are not only able to collaborate and cooperate, but they're also acquiring new skill sets. And I think
with skill
acquisition is a big deal.
How can you in competition get currency? Because the people at the top are trying to keep the precious currency from the others, where in collaboration and cooperation, like what does Jeff Bezos say in his cooperative architecture? And, at the beginning, when we were talking about cooperation modeling, and he's just selling books, and everybody said, you'll never make it. You're going to lose money selling books. You'll never do it. And today, Walmart's scared. And I'm saying, and he says, all my employees think like owners. Just yesterday, he wrote an article. He said, everybody can go around everybody. We're cooperative, not competitive. So if you come to me and I say no, you can go to 4 people and override the boss. Because if your idea and you want to get it out there, it costs so little, even if you're wrong. Let's try it. Don't give up on your idea. We want your good ideas in, because that's how we focus on no competition. We don't care about Walmart. What we care about is how do we make what our customers getting better? We're now at 1-day delivery with Prime. I want to get floating platforms and do 1-hour delivery and have, these wonderful new architectures of how to do that, which are there, which we're already doing with little drone taxis and so forth that are coming from solar and not polluting. I want to deliver in 1 hour to my Prime and have no pollution at all.
Bernie,
Mark Zuckerberg didn't know he's going to be in self-driving cars, or did Google.
No.
I mean, they're inventing the future faster than you can say the future, but it's all cooperative, it's switched on, turned on, unbelievable architectures when you walk in their campus.
So this is another selfish request, but in this case, it's not selfish for me because I understand this piece of it. I want you to share this with our community. So you are one of the founders of this, what we call super learning or accelerated learning. And this is my background coming from the law into the training space, is to be able to use experiential learning and super learning to help people to learn faster. And as you said earlier, not just learn faster, but unlearn faster, relearn faster. These are remarkable new tools for many people, it's a new skill that has to be acquired and then practiced. And one of the really unique, and I say unique because I've never seen it anywhere else in any other environment, business training environment of any kind, is something you called SNAP. So we've got about 5-6 minutes left in the show. I would love for you to share a little bit about what SNAP is and how it relates to what you've been talking about, which is that we want to create an environment of cooperation and collaboration versus an environment of competition.
I grew up in the Hewlett-Packard organization with their founders. And when we were doing corporate training, because I've done a lot of corporate training, they used to bring a lot of divisions from all over the world together, and they had solutions across the divisions, but they couldn't in competition get those open silos. So we invented a process to do it. And put it in today's terms, what you want to hear is imagine a giant ballroom, and it's all presidents of companies. Some are billionaires, some are millionaires, some are in the middle, but everybody's successful or couldn't be in there. And they're all in business, they're not-for-profits, professionals in practice, and everyone has what they are trying to get next. They need to contact a resource, a customer, a client, a market. And so we get very practiced on how to compress the request. What I am doing is this, and what I'm seeking is this. I'm doing this, and I'm seeking this. And so you show that in a circle of 6 executives, there's a group of who they know. So it's who you know in the circle and who they know. But if we stand you up and put a funny hat on you that might be a hot dog or the Eiffel Tower, you're not a billionaire anymore. You're just one of the group playing the game. And you're going out for your fortune company saying, here's what I'm doing, here's what I'm seeking next. Nobody knows your stature or who you are in that context. And every one of those CEOs and your peers there, lots of your people are there. But sometimes it's someone who is a single mom who's starting a charity from her apartment, who brings you her uncle who's heading a 21 company public fortune solution that you want. And so you're there, and everyone gives you a see me card, and they rank ABC, how the quality of that contact is. And on the back, they rank their note to themselves. This is the company, and I'm going to do this for them. So when you say you gave me a see me card, our rule is that you get a response in 72 hours for a time and a call. And then that person does 2 ways and hooks you up. It's never phone Adam and tell him Bernie said to phone. It's I'm on the phone with Adam introducing you. That carry-in is the quality that we all want and what we're used to at Fortune level. And so now we bring that process from Fortune companies to everybody.
So this is a 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, we do more quality solutions by doing that a number of times in a week than people get in 10 years.
Yeah, it is utterly remarkable. And one of the things that I think is really
clients, markets,
is that it reprograms. It's a part of that. How is it that we remove the virus piece? Because when you practice that, it's a new skill, as we were saying. It's something that has to be practiced. But
because of language. See, the most powerful tool for a CEO is requests. The adults, look, everybody wants to actually help you, but you have it come from here as clear as mud. If we can make it clear as crystal, so we improve request more than years at Wharton. I mean, and it's amazing for the top managers what they get from their team after we do their request improvement. It's called Super Networking Accelerates Potential. Trademark, that's ours. SNAP. And so we invented that, and 30 years later, it's changed, hundreds of thousands of businesses, fortune companies, mid-space.
And millions of lives. And
millions of lives.
The essence of the pivot principle is that a small change in direction over time creates
tsunamis,
a change in the order of magnitude, a transformational change. So what I see happen when I've seen this process played out, when you facilitate this process personally, is that a small change in language, sometimes a 5%, a 10%, a 20% change in language can produce a magnitude, a result that's exponentially.
We say 34% increase in request clarity is a 500% gain in result. And then we show the improvement of that. We demonstrate it. And then everybody is now improving request and getting magnified, leveraged outcomes. So we're top corporate trainers. We don't mess around on tools and tactics, but we have a lot of fun doing it. So you're not sitting like folded in a big room as executives. You're having so much fun getting game theory for serious growth development. I have Wharton double MBAs running the biggest companies in the world on video going, This is the biggest download of my growth skills to run my empire that I've gotten in my adult lifetime. And it's not once. We have those on video after video after video. And after the years, you get to say, oh my God, something special is going on in this, because we're increasing the value of it every 60 days, because change is massive right now. And so when you go out and throw your fishing line out and try to reel it in, it's one thing. What we create with Snap is what we call whirlpool. It's the next generation of funnel. And we still have to know you can only click so far. In the end, our businesses grow from the most important ship we sail on, which is relationship. And we've got to take some time to invest in currency. You've got to come once a year, once every 6 months, depending on your particular, what we call BAM, velocity, acceleration, and momentum, to remain current on your new product development, designs, hitting the market, getting all of it coming at you instead of you trying to go get it.
Yes.
And when it starts,
which is, again, that competitive drive that people are run by. So I've got one last question for you, Bernie, and that has to do with your rituals. And you could just share one if you want. It could be your morning ritual, your evening ritual, but it's really, in so many ways, we are a product of the things that we ritualize.
Well, I think I do the same things you do. I mean, we read the same books, we study this, we share them back and forth for so many years. But, first, I tell you the following ritual. So every night when I go to bed, I call it lean into joy and gratitude. And I give joy and gratitude to source. Every night, morning I wake up, I'm going to meditate first and then do my work. All right. And I do what Jeff Bezos does. I do what others do, like Mark Cuban. I do a lot of reading. I get up early and I have a 3-hour reading and I cover the world, and then I usually do my blog to share. Then I start taking my routines, which are organized by others and managed for my time, because I have my own now money now, next money next, and I don't deviate from that. But and when I have a crisis or problem, we all do, somebody really betrays me, I lean into the joy and gratitude. What do you have to teach me? What's the lesson I'm going to learn from this? And I look at joy and gratitude. I never go to hatred, competitive aspects of toxicity. I just don't have it. It just doesn't exist. I feel sorry for souls that are too damaged and have the virus to understand how much I love them. My worst enemy, that is the worst person who's done the worst thing to me, I absolutely feel so sorry. They're too stupid to know how much I love them at a soul level. And that's my ritual.
Thank you, Bernie. I want to share before we
is software for the brain.
Yeah. You shared something with me. So when I was, you write a book called Pivot, What Ends Up Happening, you get more opportunities to practice and to be able to model the principles for other people. And so at a certain point, how many people
have come up to you with tears in their eyes and said, that book is what made it for me. That made the difference for me. In my darkest hour, I found my highest peak.
I recommend that everybody that has something inside of them that they want to share with the world, whether it's a legacy message or it's just something that they've resolved for themselves, that they came through a painful period, put it in a book, because you never know. As you just said,
books
Bernie,
have to be on your library shelf.
You never have to
think and grow rich. Others pivot.
Yeah, thank you, Bernie. You'll never have to wonder that book won't find its way into someone's hands and change their life in ways that you cannot.
What did I say? I said, buy your book before you buy mine.
Oh,
because it wakes you up to buy mine. I think you have to read Pivot to be able to absorb redemption.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm telling you guys, you're seeing the thought leaders of the thought leaders, the people that coach the biggest companies, the tools and tactics on this. You've got to social, viral, and send it out. This is what really is important, because you bless others. The law of reciprocity, when you give first and you give without condition, creates the trigger to the law of attraction coming into you. So if you didn't do the reciprocity, you'll never get the law of attraction. And that's Napoleon Hill 101, everybody forgets. The law of reciprocity is 10 times the force from the source than the law of attraction. What powers the law of attraction and is the lightning to the motherboard is reciprocity. What are you giving? Because if you haven't given, I have nothing. You can give coaching, mentorship, encouragement. You can give joy and gratitude. You can give this and viral it and make sure people get it. The law of attraction, bang, comes back at you. So I'm telling you, at the end of life, there's one thing I can give you before he cuts me off, which is there are no regrets on the thousands I've crossed over. And it's about 10 or 15% when they follow this rule. And those that have sunk into the worst places of humanity, compromise, and 85% in resignation. And what are they compromising and resignating from? Their dreams. If you don't have lives that thrill you and you're doing your dreams, you aren't the spouse you should be, the parent you should be, and your life is aching. When you step back into that and you're doing your dreams, you have a switched on, turned on life, and your life will thrill you. So if there's anything I can give you from my father's generation and mine in thought leadership, being the pope of the human potential industry today, that's the secret.
Well, that's a mic drop moment right there. So you are a dear soul, my friend, and I'm thrilled to know you. I'm thrilled that I get to call you a friend, that we're colleagues, and that we've been so supportive of each other over the years. And I'll never forget you one day, my having a conversation with you about my latest pivot, and you're saying to me these 3 simple words that have not only changed my life, but have made their way into our new book. And it's a term that I think is so applicable today. It's a piece of advice that can be used all the time, and that is to embrace the pivot. Embrace the pivot, because as you said, everything that is happening, every change that is happening, the super change that you speak of, is a supercharged opportunity. Every single part of it, every particle of it is an opportunity.
We're growing faster. We're waking up.
But it's
faster.
only an opportunity
By the way,
if we embrace
it. If you're looking for some of these films I talked about, ceospace.net, ceospace.net, make a bookmark and share that with others when you see they just want to accelerate their economic journey. They want to have a conscious tribe and accelerate their economic journey, and be in higher integrity in a community.
And in fact,
be one to get one.
What's great about the way this program is formatted is that we'll have incredible show notes. For all of you that have not checked out the show notes, please do that. Go to adammarkel.com/podcast. You get the show notes with links to find out more about the book Redemption, more about CEO Space International, the work they've done, the fact that they have been, I think, 3 years in a row, been ranked number 1 by Forbes as a must-attend
5 years in a row.
Sorry. You should. Hey, listen.
Spearman ranked us ahead of HubSpot.
Did anybody ever tell you you're not supposed to correct the host?
Oh yeah. But I just, in telling you all that, what I want you to do
5 years running.
I want to challenge you. I want to give you the pivot challenge. I want each one of you to assure that in the next podcast, you are responsible for 10 that you've blessed in reciprocity to watch and see their own software here go up, make a bookmark favorite, and viral. And I'm saying, I challenge you, make sure you get 10 that say, yes, I'm going to watch the next show or this one, and share
This is a perfect segue into a reminder for all of us, which is that it really pays to pay it forward. And we know that, and that's what Bernie is telling us. It's a law that comes before the law of attraction. So paying it forward could look like a lot of things. I would love it if we can request that you are leaving your review on iTunes. So leave a review. Go to adammarkel.com/podcast and leave your comment, your feedback, because we live on that feedback. Also, again, check out the show notes because they're very powerful. And the most important thing that I want to leave you with right now, in addition to just thanking my amazing guests, is to remind us all that we woke up today. Now, some of us may be still waking up, and always get a little bit of a wink from folks because it is an ongoing process, both on every level, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, we're waking up. But it was a blessing that was not guaranteed. It was not guaranteed when we laid our heads on the pillow last night that we would see another day. So the fact that we did get that we woke up, is something to be grateful for. And it could be that what you woke up to was a rainy, cloudy, cold day. It could be that you woke up to the day you had to go to court for your divorce, or that you had to deal with a creditor, or deal with someone who owes you money, or deal with a lawyer, God forbid, or what
your best lesson,
or whatever it is. Or it was a day that was your best lesson. Exactly. You woke up, and that was something to be grateful for. So my prayer and my intention is that we all get to do it again tomorrow. And right now for yourself, as you take a deep breath, I want you to remember that it is not guaranteed. And if it turns out, as I expect it will, that you will wake up tomorrow, that you will open your eyes to the dawn of a brand new day, that when you do take that first breath, that you realize that there are people in that very moment all over who are taking their last breath, and babies being born, taking their first breath. It is a sacred moment. It's holy. It's spiritual, however you define spirituality. It's not an ordinary moment, and it's something to be grateful for. And if you're inclined to do it, I'd love for you to say these words out loud, which are words that I get to say all the time. I get to remind myself every day when I start with these words, how important life is, how sacred and special my own life is, and how much I want to contribute to the world and the world. And those words are, I love my life. I love my life. I love my life. Bernie.
I love your wife.
I love you. I love my wife too.
too.
It's been a blessing, brother. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Do your dreams. Your life will thrill you.
Do your dreams, everybody. Do your dreams. Ciao for now.
Thanks for listening, everyone. We hope you now have the tools and greater insights to navigate your own pivot. Help us inspire others by sharing this episode and leaving your comments over at adammarkel.com/podcasts. For more tips, strategies, and support as you consciously pivot into a new business and lifestyle you love, join our pivot community on Facebook at pivotfb.com.